Hello, everybody.
Live from my grandmother's basement, we are talking about puppets because we're the trash people. And you know what? We're going to talk about some trash puppets today. We're going to be talking about Tim Platt, and we're going to be talking to our dear friend who I am like crazy excited to announce to all of you. But before that, I'm Emily Pineapple.
And I'm Forrest, keeper of the cannon.
And tonight, so we're the trash people. We talk about what is going to be happening on a Planet Scum show. And tonight is Judge Millie. And I am wearing some awesome Judge Millie merch right here, modeled for you, designed by this boy right here. For sizing, I want everyone to know that this is a large right here. I'm like about 5'6", like 170 sized girl, and I kind of wish I'd ordered a medium. So I know that Planet Scum merch is in all of your baskets for this Christmas season. What's up, Jess?
Hey, Jess.
So I am excited to provide all of that knowledge, but what I'm more excited about is to talk about puppets, to talk to our dear friend, and we are going to be making a puppet live on the air. Look at all these puppet materials. Behold. And it's all just fucking trash that I found places. Cardboard from delivery boxes. Foam from deliveries. And here's the reason we are talking about puppets. We would be remiss.
Yeah, we should mention this.
We are speaking about puppets today because on Judge Millie, this very night,
Mere hours from now,
on this very night, the 7th day of Hanukkah.
That's so cool, Jess.
Holy crap.
Any puppetry facts or experiences you want to share in the chat, I'll pop them right on up.
Please. The reason we are talking about puppets today is because on Judge Millie, this very night, this blessed 7th night of Hanukkah, Tim Platt, the creator and performer of Puppet themselves,
as seen on the first episode of Mary Houlihan's painting party,
as seen on Cartoon Monsoon, Mary Houlihan and Joe Rumroll's badass awesome show that happened in New York.
Multiple episodes of the special without Brett Davis. And so many more.
And so much more. He's also just fucking hilarious in his own right as a comedian and performer outside of the puppet. But puppets are what we're talking about today. And I would love to introduce, actually, let's get on and introduce a dear friend of ours.
Yeah.
A puppetry master. This person we met at my first job out of college, where we met this person. We also met this amazing person. Yeah. Welcome to the show, Joe Sams of Uncle Dad Productions. Hi, Joe!
Oh, hello. Hi. I'm
and
driving on the 5 right now.
Joe has so very kindly is calling into the show, driving home for the holiday.
Hello, can you hear me?
The test. I'm assuming you wouldn't be driving home.
Like no one repeat that. Looks like our internet cut out for a second, but we're back now.
We're back!
Yes.
Joe, dear Joe of Uncle Dad Productions, something that you need to follow immediately, is a puppetry master. So I would love, Forrest, can we bring up some of Joe's puppets?
Absolutely.
So that people can get a good look at what we're dealing with here.
Oh yeah, show the images on Instagram. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, I've been making puppets for about 10 years. Very self-taught. I just like you guys. I make them out of garbage, and I think that's the way to do it. You know, puppets aren't all made the same way. You gotta just go with the flow. Anybody can make a puppet. You just need a glue gun.
Speaking of, I have this gorgeous glue gun right here, and we're gonna get started on this puppet because my plan was to have a puppet complete by the end of this show, so we'll see how we do. I will do some explication. I'm not sure what you can see. So what we have here: foam, cardboard, sock, random scraps of fabric and felt, duct tape, glue gun, ping pong balls.
Jess actually had a question for you,
yes.
Joe. Jess in the chat. What inspires you to start puppet making?
Yes, please tell
you know,
us.
thank you for asking that question. It's just a project fell in my lap. There was a band that they said, hey, we want to have a Muppet style video. And it seemed like a cool opportunity. So I just kind of took it in my own direction. I mean, I think what I was telling you guys earlier is the world is really oversaturated with, there's kind of like a standard of what puppets should look like.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm very against that because I'm heavily inspired by this artist named Wayne White. And
Can we get some Wayne White up there?
Yeah. Oh, he's great. He's
if any of you have seen Pee-wee's Playhouse, you will have seen this person's puppets.
He's the guy he did the majority of the puppets and the voices and the puppeteering, I believe, on Pee-wee's Playhouse. And if you have Amazon Prime, I think it's still on there. It's a documentary all about him, which is really great. It's called Beauty is Embarrassing or Creativity is Embarrassing. I forget the name. The name of the documentary is not the best, but
that spoke to my soul, to be honest.
I do love that name.
I'm like, wow, that speaks to me.
Yeah, he's great.
So
Yeah.
So you made your first puppets for this band.
Yeah.
Then you were bitten by the puppet bug. What bit you about the puppet bug? What about puppets were you like, fuck to the yes?
Well, I grew up really idolizing special effects in horror movies. Mm-hmm. And that's actually why I went to film school, because I wanted to do production design and, movies like Dead Alive or Meet the Feebles, which is the gnarliest puppet movie of all time.
Meet the Feebles. I have never heard of this.
That's another giant Wayne White puppet.
So this movie, I'll just say really quickly, it is the most vulgar, offensive puppet masterpiece ever created. If you get offended easily, you probably won't like it. It's very, very fucked up and horrifying.
Well, and that was Peter Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's his best movie, despite
horrifying in a gore way.
Yeah, in every way imaginable.
Okay.
Honestly,
Okay.
I think it has something to offend anybody. It's a very offensive movie. I won't spoil it, but I think what he was trying to do at his defense is he wanted to take something beautiful and innocent like puppets, and then do the most horrifying, awful, twisted sort of thing with the medium.
We actually have another question. Oh, we have another question from the chat, which is, what's the largest puppet you've ever worked on or made?
Oh, please ask 1,000 questions,
I have
Jess.
a good answer for this. Okay.
Yeah.
So, in my senior film, it's all first-person perspective from a kid's dream. And I wanted a scene where he walks in on his parents having sex, which, by the way, has never happened to me, so it's all fictional. This isn't part of my reality. But I made a puppet where I found an old bed frame on the side of the road. And I got a big sheet. I got somebody to sew the sheet to the comforter, and I had about 5 people underneath. 2 people had one leg on each side sticking out of the bed. Then 2 other people had one arm sticking out of each side. And then I had these 2 giant pool noodles being shaped around with mannequin heads on them, where I green screened the face of each person onto them. And it took about 6 people to puppeteer it. And wow. It's truly disturbing. I had plungers with giant bouncy balls attached to it. And, people were underneath kind of hitting it up and down to make it look like it's like a puppet sex freak scene. So that was actually I made that before I made that other music video. So that was probably the first real puppet thing that I did, and I can think of. And
what? So What about puppets specifically in the oeuvre of set design in film really captured you? I think the thing that is really interesting to me is how many humans it takes working in concert to create an interesting thing. I'm so curious sort of what your perspective is on that as also an extremely talented just visual artist.
Well, thank you. I'm fascinated specifically with the medium of puppetry because, as I said before, it's people think it's limited to like the kind of basic Sesame Street type puppets, but really like you can do anything with puppetry. You can make anything out of a puppet. And that's what is so fascinating to me. Like, I'll find some trash on the street and I'll see a puppet out of it. I mean, I made a puppet one time out of it was like a crib, and I made a fake bed for my puppet, and it's a scene where he pops a boner when the phone rings. And I used like an umbrella. I like cut a hole in his crotch, and I used an umbrella, and he had stretchy pants.
Oh.
And I've said this before, maybe live, I don't remember, but I do highly stylized, low-functioning puppets. So I put all my eggs in the basket of the visual representation, and I use that to kind of hide how I'm not good at the actual functionality of puppets.
And you mentioned before that that's related to it's something that you picked up on and you're inspired by professional wrestling.
Yes, very much so. I believe it was, it may have been Vince McMahon. It was somebody, maybe even Chris Gethard, honestly. It was somebody talking about how when you're a professional wrestler, you got to know your strengths and weaknesses. Because you got to be strategic with how you present yourself. There's wrestlers who are incredible wrestlers but not good on the microphone, like Brock Lesnar, or there's some people that are in that category. But then you have someone like Hulk Hogan, who's like one of the most famous wrestlers ever. But if you look at him as a wrestler, he's terrible. Like his main move is a leg drop.
Exactly. I was gonna say.
And they're successful because they know their weaknesses and they're able to hide them, and that's what I apply to my puppets. I'm like, I know I can't make a puppet that's super functional, so I'm just gonna make it look really cool, kind of like a prop I would see in a horror movie, my best attempt at it, and then just kind of see what happens, very DIY.
Absolutely.
I love that sort of ethos, the idea that like there are going to be things that you cannot do, but just fucking hide them. Just fucking make the thing in a way that hides them. That's not a barrier to making a thing.
Exactly, yeah. There's ways to get through any sort of thing like that. Like, most of the art I do in general is all built on a lot of ambiguity that allows me to sort of do a lot of creative problem solving. Like Slumber TV, the project I've been working on for a while now, and has a lot of puppets, where that Cocker Spaniel came from. It's all based in the dream world, so there's a lot of leeway to allow me to kind of do creative problem solving, to where it's like, there's no reality to it. Like, it doesn't matter what I use to finish the product. It's like, it almost enhances it, the idea that my method of just kind of throwing this shit together in a weird way, that's a part of the whole style. So it's like believing in yourself.
Yeah.
I love that. Talk to me about the sort of current, and as we were growing up, like, comedy puppet landscape, because I know that probably many of the people watching, and myself included, my first intro to comedy puppets was kind of cursed. It's a comedian who should not be named. Jeff Dunham. It's Jeff Dunham. I'm talking about Mr. Racist Puppets himself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's he who cannot be named.
He who cannot be named. We do not. But I feel like there has been a huge resurgence in puppets, in
That's true.
alt comedy, essentially. I'm curious if there are any comedians or things that have inspired you where you're like, damn, that needs a puppet, or wow, like that person's use of puppets like really inspires me.
Well, I'll tell you, as soon as you said puppet comedies, it made me think of a show that it's a kind of a love-hate with me, but it's called DC Follies. Have you ever heard of that show?
No.
So I found it on DVD at Goodwill in Los Angeles maybe a year ago. Shout Factory released it. They always release really cool, obscure TV shows. And so this one is like these hyper-realistic caricature puppets of like Ronald Reagan and Dolly Parton. And it's kind of like a watered-down version of Splitting Images. Which is another kind of obscure, it's a British puppet show, which actually inspired one of the guy who waves at things drawings, but that's a whole other story. But DC Follies, the only human being in it is Fred Willard, and he's the bartender. And there it is. It is incredibly creepy and disturbing, but it's hilarious. And it's made by the guys who did HR Puffin Stuff.
Shit! That is a fucking cursed memory right there.
And no joke, Freddy Krueger makes an appearance as Freddy Krueger. Dave England.
As Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, he's dressed up in the full Freddy Krueger gear, and he takes a visit to DC Follies.
That's so weird. Like, that's why. Oh, I mean, it makes sense. They all look. Horrific.
But if you look at Splitting Images, I think that's the real deal, because I first heard of them because they did the music video Land of Confusion by Genesis. Yeah. And as much as I don't care for Genesis, that is like one of the best videos I've ever seen. And it's because they were smart enough to get Splitting Images to do their video. And it is one of the most surreal, insane puppet masterpieces you'll ever see.
These are you're right. The Splitting Images ones are super surreal, but they're they're more
they have a kind of realism to them that is different from the animalistic kind of puppets of Jim Henson and that sort of thing. And also I really think that the Jim Henson Star Wars things that have been really hitting the zeitgeist have been some of the biggest things for puppets. Everyone getting really, really excited over The Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. Yeah. And people getting really, really excited about seeing all of the old Jim Henson things that they hadn't seen before. And you, of course, you were making puppets from long before The Mandalorian, etc. What sort of, and you were mostly working with bands and cool music videos and things that you just like wanted to do. Oh my God! It has a mouth. Oh, I don't know if I did this correctly. Everyone behold the first puppet I have ever attempted to make. Are
you going to show the mouth off again?
Check that out right there.
Just remember, there's no wrong way to make a puppet.
Exactly.
And that's what's so great about it. You know, what this person in the video that I'm loosely following did next was give it a little mouth. So that's what I'm going to do. But
I'll tell you about a puppet that I never got to make, but I almost did. So I won't name the artist, but she's like this, it's like dark wave, ethereal, like shoegaze type of music, and she's pretty popular.
Evanescence? Sorry.
No. Oh, you'll. She's this cool artist. It's a friend of a friend, and I would have made it, but I had maybe like one day to make it, so it just never happened. Yeah. But she wanted me to make this big gargoyle bat puppet that was kind of based like almost in the Dark Crystal kind of world.
Yeah.
And what I was gonna do is I was gonna, you know, those pig ears that dogs chew on.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna get those, and I was gonna like defumigate them, like make them so they didn't smell like
Fucking pig.
horseradish or I don't know what. You know? Make it so they don't smell, and then I was gonna spray paint them black, and I was gonna attach it to like a skull, and go to like a taxidermy place and get different types of like talons and like weird stuff that I wouldn't normally dabble in, but I wanted it to be like incredibly frightening. And
That's so cool.
I was gonna make the wings out of old umbrellas.
Oh
Because
yeah.
if you dissect an umbrella, it has that mechanism of like the wingspan. So I was gonna do that and make it hairy and give it LED eyeballs, like kind of, which inspired me with the music video "Boys Don't Cry" by The Cure, because what they do, they have one of the most beautifully genius music videos I've ever seen, where it's shadow. They play the shadows of little kid versions of them playing their instruments, and the shadows, which is the real band, they all have red LED lights. They're shadows with red eyes.
Ooh.
So I wanted it to kind of look like that, but also this kind of disgusting, gnarly, movable gargoyle bat. But I never got to make it because I probably would need like over $1,000 to make something like that.
Yeah, I mean that sounds time intensive and just
resource intensive,
but amazing.
Yeah, it would probably take a few months too. I mean, I'm kind of bummed it didn't work out, but it wasn't her fault. It was kind of just like, it's like, yeah, can you make this in a day? And like I heard about it, we were introduced to each other like too late into the game for it. But
yeah,
it's like any opportunity I get to make something like that, I'm very, very interested. Especially when I have a lot of creative freedom, and it's like these people kind of trust what you're doing, you know?
Yeah, that's always really refreshing, and getting to sort of follow your own vision in what the project should be, rather than being held back
something I heard from someone who's been really inspiring me, not puppet related, is Gary Shandling. And he said something he said what he does is for his show, it's Gary Shandling's show, which is a masterpiece of a show that I recently saw all of it. It's like my new favorite show. What he does is he creates an exaggerated version of himself. And he says all the best artists are themselves, and they kind of harness their own personality in a strategic way. And that's kind of what he does. I mean, that's what I try to do with my art. I try to just be genuine and do what I think is good. I mean, I'm my own biggest fan because it has to pass my barometer.
Yeah.
Of like, this is genuinely what I think would be good.
I love that. It reminds me a lot of some of the stuff in Lose Well as well, about how you have to believe in your art and yourself. And I mean, I think that you can see that harnessing of the artist's personality in Gethard, but also just a lot of the other hosts on Planet Scum. Like the persona that's rooted in the real you and exaggerating parts of yourself is definitely a powerful thing to do.
I mean,
do you ever not believe in yourself? Do you ever go through like moments of just not believing in yourself for no good reason? And how do you get out of that?
I'm sure everybody does at some point. I can't, in terms of my art, I don't really, it's very free form. Like I kind of just go with the flow. Like if I try to have a really refined bullshit monitor. Like if there's a project thrown my way that I'm kind of iffy about, I probably won't do it. Like I try to, all my free time is usually dedicated to my own personal projects that there's no money involved. It's just like, I want to make this because I want to make it.
Yeah.
And I think that's how people should do it in like a very general sense. It's like, you should just make something for yourself, That's the best. Those are all my favorite artists. They kind of just did stuff for themselves.
I love that. Yeah.
It's legit. It's super legit. It's very in the Gethard and Planet Scum ethos.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, that's what attracted me to the Chris Gethard show. I mean, not just you and Forrest talking about it religiously for such a long time, but I watched every episode probably like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
At least. I mean, it's free content on YouTube, for one. You met me
Yeah.
there. But
Absolutely.
it's also a great show that you could just kind of lose yourself in. It's like a weird time capsule at this point. But it's
That's
great.
very true.
And it's very
times.
inspiring too, to like just things that are inspiring in general, you know, just like makes me continue. It like reinforces the idea that I'm doing the right thing by just making what I want to make.
That's definitely also one of the things that drew me to it, and is why I like to return to it when I'm feeling a little bit
Uninspired.
or yeah.
Not confident in one's like right to make things that just they like, which is sort of an interesting little bit of programming that dear old Papa Capitalism handed to us. So grateful. Papa Capitalism. So grateful for my
Daddy
capitalism.
I will say, back to kind of what you asked before about not believing in yourself, there are times where I feel uninspired, and that's when you need to have a palate cleanser. That's when I'll like kind of watch TV shows that I like, or try to do something. That's even Chris Gethard said that, I think.
Yeah.
That's probably where I got it from. It's like, if you're feeling uninspired about what you're doing, or like you have some kind of creative block, just chill out and watch something and get inspired again.
Just watch some fucking TV. Calm down.
That. Yeah, just watch cool stuff.
Chill out. You don't need to be a work machine every 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
God, that's so hard to like integrate though into like my psyche, personally, into one's psyche.
It definitely can be. I'm better at that than I used to be.
I'm always comparing my work ethic to Frank Zappa's because he's such a big influence to me. And he was working 9 to 5 during his, he had colon cancer. And he was mastering albums on his deathbed. And he basically worked 24 hours a day his entire life. So,
wow.
It's kind of just like insane what you can accomplish as a human being. So, and especially with the stuff that he's doing, because it's like, the idea that he somehow became famous doing the most outrageously uncommercial stuff and not when he was high on, like, he never did drugs. So it's just like, it's crazy. He's a very inspirational guy to me.
Yeah, it's crazy that he managed to reach the heights doing stuff like Don't Eat the Yellow Snow and all that.
He was on Beavis and Butthead. That's the height of success to me.
Oh, I would... Mike Judge, if you happen to be
Oh my God.
You are what you is. That song's on Beavis and Butthead. They're like, what the hell is this crap? Before I forget, you got to look up the new Future Islands music video, because that's the one that Wayne White collaborated with another guy on. It's like, I don't know too much about Future Islands, but I gotta say they're very smart for getting Wayne White to do their video, because he did the craziest, most innovative original puppets I've seen in like a really long time in that video. It's just a bunch of his puppets walking around, and that's all it is. The whole video, but it'll blow your mind. It's crazy. It came out last month or 2 months ago.
Why do you think there's a resurgence in puppet art?
Maybe it's when you look back at movies that were so reliant on CGI. You see how badly they've aged, and then you're kind of people are kind of begging. Like when The Force Awakens came out, you could tell they kind of leaned more on the practical effects, which I give them props for.
Yeah,
and I mean, that's one example, but I think it's something where people are kind of tired of the kind of Windows 98 sort of graphics in movies. Like, you watch that movie Jumanji, Like, I used to
jeez.
love that movie. You see the special effects, it's like, this looks like Zoo Tycoon. Not
Yeah.
look good.
The original
Zoo
Jumanji.
Tycoon! Oh my god, I forgot about Zoo Tycoon.
Zoo Tycoon.
Sorry, I just
never
had to
played
remember.
it, but I saw the cover.
Thank you,
I saw
Henry.
the cover of Zoo Tycoon.
Thank you.
But yeah, look at this video. Isn't it crazy?
This video is incredible.
So Wayne
Wow.
White made all the puppets, and he shot it. But then some guy, I think Woodrow White is the name of the other guy.
Oh,
He put it all together and he did the backgrounds.
It reminds me of, have you ever seen any of William Kettridge's work?
I'm not sure what did he do.
He was a South African artist, and he actually did a lot of puppets. Now that I think about it, he did animations by drawing huge charcoal drawings and then erasing them and sort of doing a stop motion, but all on the same canvas.
Oh yes, I have seen that. That is very cool. Yeah, I like
And then he also had this cool. Did you see when he was at? This was. You grew up in Santa Cruz, right?
I did, yeah.
It was at the San Francisco MoMA in high school. They took us there, and they had his giant machines that were like. It was a bunch of puppets, but it was all automated, so it'd be like this huge cabinet, and all of these like different things would come out when you turn it on, like those clocks, where little dudes come out. Yeah, kind of like that, but way more complicated and cool. Why? Okay, so here's a question that I have about this puppet. What am I doing wrong? Because I'm realizing that I can't make its little mouth move, and I think that I put the eyes on the wrong half.
So right now I'm basically blind. I won't be able to see it.
yeah, he's driving.
That's fair. If anyone can help. Because I think it's that I made this little pocket in the foam inside, and I'm supposed to be able to slip my fingers in that pocket, and I did not realize that these two little pockets are for your hands. They're for your fingers.
Oh, yeah, let me zoom in so you can show off what
Yes,
you mean
so
for
let's
people.
all learn together in this moment that like this absolutely should have been the head half of the puppet, and this should have been the bottom part of the jaw, because there is just so much less room for fingers. Oh no, did we lose Joe?
We may have.
We may have lost
Phone
Joe.
was not doing too hot, so we may have lost Uncle Dad Productions.
Uh,
We'll shout out his stuff at the
absolutely
end of the show if he doesn't make it back.
to Joe, because
Because it was great having him, and his work is actually some of the stuff that inspired us.
he's just
Constantly
a punk
inspires us,
rock.
but also inspired us early on We Are
Hey,
Trash
you
People.
guys
Hello,
hear me?
you're back.
Ah, yeah.
Yes, now I can hear you.
All right, my phone is close to dying, but I'm still here.
Fuck
Okay.
yes.
Feel free to go if
I-
you need to.
If I have any dying words, I gotta say, if you want a good puppet mouth, use cardboard.
It is what I'm using, but I have a feeling that I made him a little bit too small in an attempt to make something that would like be fast.
Oh,
Well, this may inspire you too. He doesn't need to have a mouth necessarily. What if you just focus on his arms or his ears, or you could do something where he doesn't even
That's true.
talk. He doesn't need to talk.
That is very true. Very true. I think what I might do is give him more eyes. I think that more eyes is going to be the way to go.
I like it. You
Yeah.
know, if you want to see a crazy puppet video, very hard to accomplish what they did, but it's a Fatboy Slim music video where it's Iggy Pop as a puppet.
Oh.
Oh,
It
let's
is-
check it out.
It is absolutely insane. The thing is, it fits in with Meet the Feebles, and it also fits in with DC Follies and Splitting Images, where what they do is they incorporate the human body into their puppets.
Oh,
So it's like
that
a weird. It's like a hybrid of being a puppet and being a human being. So
That throws back to one of the questions Jess asked earlier,
Yes.
which was, is the human body a puppet?
is the human body a puppet?
it is. I agree. Yes, the human
Yeah.
body is definitely a puppet. I'm puppeteering, or no, never mind. My car is a puppet, I guess, and I'm the puppeteer to my car.
Is everything but Like, there is no power dynamic. There are only puppets and puppeteers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like that. I love that.
Yeah,
And I like how...
Words to live by.
So when you see a piece of art that has a puppet in it, that, like, you know, it's not necessarily like the puppet isn't the point of the art, it's just there. What does the puppet add for you as a viewer, as a person who enjoys, you know, fucking punk rock music and comedy?
Well, it's it's a very case-by-case basis. I mean, it could elicit different feelings. I mean, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, I'm really just kind of thinking of unconventional uses of puppets. Like, the one that I had in mind, what was it? It was like some movie. Maybe Freaked? Have you ever heard of the movie Freaked?
Yes.
I have heard that title before. I do not know the movie, however.
So I believe Alex Winter made it. It's Alex Winter's movie.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and there's some very unconventional puppeteering in that, and that elicits like a response of like, holy shit, this is absolutely insane. Or like, you could do very subtle puppetry where like there's stuff you don't like. One example of really subtle puppetry that I like is in Blue Velvet. David Lynch's Blue Velvet.
Yes.
There's a scene that's maybe 5 seconds long, but I've based projects off of the scene, and it's you see a shadow of an industrial building kind of moving around. And it's David Lynch with pieces of cardboard, and that's it. But it's just a shadow that you see in one scene of Blue Velvet, and it's him like making it look like there's machinery.
I love that. I love that.
It's genius. Yeah, it's like, I mean, that's another thing. I worked on a video that hasn't been done yet, but what I was doing was it's all shadow puppets, and it's about this guy trying to sneak into a club, and he sees these girls, and when he walks up to them, they morph into these different objects. So, like, he walks up to a lady, and then it flips, and she turns into a chair.
Oh.
And the way I did that, it's very easy because it's shadow puppets. So what I did was I made a cardboard cutout of, like, a lady's profile, and then I made a chair out of cardboard, and then I cut one of them in half, and I glued it on, it's like the X and the Y axis. So then you just spin it around and it morphs directly into the other thing, you know? It's like, seems like a concept as old as time. I feel like
it really is. Shadow puppets are actually thought to be the very first form of puppets, and possibly predating theater production, which I think is fucking ridiculous and stupid and doesn't make any sense, because I am a human who has been walking around the idea that humans wouldn't just be like, hey, listen to me do this thing, wouldn't happen before like, hey, let me cut something out of something else is a little bit interesting.
Make a bunny rabbit with my fingers.
Yeah.
Straight up. Like, the idea that would happen before, like, humans just chilling.
Saying stuff.
It sort of comes, I think, from that, you know, almost oldest time idea of, like, oh, the primitive peoples were so different from us. When it's like, nah, bitches who were fishing in the giant lake that used to be in the middle of the Sahara Desert were as human as we are. They just didn't enslave each other via agriculture yet.
You know, I must say, there's a guy on Instagram, and I think he does some of the most inventive, what I would consider puppetry. His name's David Nobody Jr. Have you seen his stuff?
No, but I'm pulling it up now.
Jr.
So he does, I heard something about him talking about how he does all of his artwork on his face because he feels it differently than how he would on other art. And I mean, I think there's elements of puppetry to it because he is he's like puppeteering the things on his face.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think he completely reinvented puppetry in a weird way.
Oh my god. Actually though,
Yeah,
because
let me
it's
pull up this one, which seems
both puppet and costume.
like this absolutely seems like a puppetry.
Yeah.
In so many ways.
Like, it's almost ridiculous for it to not be puppetry, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing stuff. I was very impressed. Another person who does really interesting puppetry, she worked on the show Wonder Chosen,
Oh yeah.
and her name is Karen Tozzi, Tozzi, and she does some great puppet stuff. She has kind of a more conventional puppet style, but I mean, people who are in the puppet game on Instagram, she's definitely like top tier, in my opinion.
Gonna be real, I love the idea of the puppet gang.
Yeah, I know. There is a puppet game, you know. They're never going away. They're always going to be there. There's another one that I can't remember the name, but they do shadow puppets out of Chicago, and they do some amazing stuff.
Chicago's got a lot of things.
Yeah, Chicago's got it.
It's like such a haven.
I wonder
That's
if
a whole
part
other
of
scene.
I wonder if part of the resurgence of puppet stuff this year is because puppetry is nice as an art form that you can just do even if you're inside. Like you don't, you know, it's not.
Yeah.
Are you trying to flip inside out?
I am. That is what I am trying to do. I am. Oh, what does it look like now? What did what I did cause? Which isn't exactly what I thought would happen or was desirous of happening, but that's what happens when you turn your whole thing inside out to redo one of the earliest steps when you're already at one of the final steps.
Now, before my phone is very close to dying, before I die, you gotta look up Mr. Wobble's Nightmare by Kid 606. Watch that video, because that's another incredibly inventive way of puppetry. They what they do is they puppeteer different fruit, and they use rotting fruit as like zombie fruit. And
that's so
I thought
cool.
it was very inventive. It's like it's animation mixed with puppetry. It's mixed media, but it's like a genius idea. That's one of those things where it's like I try to strive to have ideas like this where they're so simple and clever that people are kind of kicking themselves saying, like, how did I not think of that?
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not saying my stuff's like that, but I'm saying, like, that's what I aspire to do. I love the idea of coming up with these effortless, creative ideas that are so clever that people are just like, why didn't I do that?
Right? I mean, that's definitely the dream, I think. And I think this is a great example of that. But I love seeing just how much there is to puppetry right now and how much innovation and like how many cool things are still being done. And that it's the puppet renaissance. The puppet. Oh, are we going to spend the rest of the episode trying to come up with puppet songs?
The puppet songs.
Yeah, that's probably the best one.
I can't think of something better than puppet songs.
The puppet songs?
Puppet songs?
Because
puppet songs sounds like dogs have invented flying machines.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Ow. Ow. Joe, before your phone dies.
Yes.
Is there anything that you would like to share with our viewers? Any words of wisdom, like the thing that you would leave behind to these people, were they never to hear from you again?
I would say in my honor, and because my phone is it's like at probably 1%, and I'm driving in the dark. I would say, go walk around the streets. Even though it's COVID, you gotta bring sanitizing wipes. Go find some things on the streets, wipe them down. Go to Michael's. Don't spend too much money. Just get the basics. Get a glue gun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get felt. But this is a big tip. Go to the dollar store. You can get so much. Like you can use tongs to make a big mouth. I made a puppet where the head is made out of an oven mitt.
Yes.
And it was a creative mistake where I put too much on the oven mitt and then I couldn't fit my hand in it. So not only is it too heavy, but you have to have a small hand in order to operate it. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. So you got to make sure not to do that. But anyway, I mean, you have cardboard and you have a glue gun and felt and get an oven mitt from a dollar store. I mean, you can make some cool shit. I mean, I was telling you guys earlier, you can make movable eyeballs on a puppet out of dollar store deodorant rollers.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I got a plastic fish tank, and I cut out holes, and I put the deodorant. I popped out the deodorant balls, and I put in ping pong balls, and I screwed in a hook on the back of it. Then I screwed in a hook on top of the fish bowl, which is like the top of the head, and I was able to run strings through, and I put rings on them. So through the back of the puppet, you pull it, and the eyes move up and down.
That's sick as
fuck. You try to think how you can utilize different springs, because that's how I did it. So it's like you pull the spring, and then it springs back to its normal place. That's what kind of creates the puppeteering in that manner. I mean, once my phone dies, check out those the puppeteering videos that I sent you. I hope they're still on YouTube, because they take stuff off of YouTube all the time. But there's a guy who shows you how to do DIY animatronics, and that's where I learned that secret. That's how I learned how to make the eyeballs out of deodorant rollers. I thought that was a genius idea. And even on my first attempt, I made 3 identical puppets that could kind of do it. So, I mean, it was extra elaborate because I had to make the puppet look like a specific guy. But like, if you're trying to just make an alien or something, there's way more leeway. Like, you make a character where you don't know how he looks, but you know how you want to make him. And then that way you're not disappointed in like, oh, this looks like a weird sock puppet. It doesn't look like my Uncle Charlie or whoever you're trying to make. Just kind of go for it, you know? Just go to the dollar store, find stuff that inspires you. Also, you know, like those dogs that jump around and do backflips?
Oh, yeah.
Take the skin off of it and use the mechanisms. As itself, that's animatronic, and you can buy one for like $5, and you can make it like a face that moves around all weird.
That's a great point.
Or like
that is a super great point.
Getting a grabber cake. Like there's especially during Christmas, there's all the dancing Santas and stuff. That's something I learned from Karen Tozzi on Instagram. She did that a lot, where she would buy those really cheap ass, like at CVS, the animatronic Charlie Brown or whatever, and then she'd strip it down and just add her own felt over it. And you can have a dancing creature, or you could just like completely turn it on its side and use it as something else. So
that's such a good tip.
There's a million ways to look at it. Also, ice cream scoops. That's how people do blinking puppets.
Oh, of course.
Fuck!
Like, once the mechanism is pointed out.
Simple mechanisms. Like, I'm telling you, just go to one dollar store. I mean, hopefully it doesn't die by the end of the story, but I made this fake dance club called Dance Company, and I made rotating disco balls in it. It's a miniature set. What I did was I got those fans, the handheld fans that you press in, and it makes the spinning go. I attached it to these big ornaments that I covered in cut up DVDs, so it's a disco ball, and you just pull a string that I attached to the mechanism that makes the fans go, and it makes the disco balls rotate.
Wow!
I love that.
That's amazing.
It's dirt cheap. You just find things. There's like all kinds of crap that just like spins when you turn it on. And imagine using that for your puppet. Like put hair on it, and you have a puppet that has a spinning wig. Like you can do stuff. So you just got to get creative and inventive with it. And really, the dollar store is your best friend. You can get so much good stuff at the dollar store.
You got to use industrialization for like our own methods.
Yeah.
like, I feel like we as a generation have inherited just seas and seas of trash, both literally and figuratively, in that, like, all of this plastic nonsense that, like, keeps getting produced, that's, like, super cheap and, like, is essentially made to be thrown away after, like, a child is done playing with it, or, like, it's done sitting on your table to make you look fancy for Thanksgiving. We, as the inheritors of this trash, have the right to do whatever the fuck we want with it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
including
absolutely.
making aliens.
Yeah, take that, Taylor Swift.
Yeah! Fuck you and all your boyfriends.
Yeah, let's see her make a puppet.
Yeah.
Just kidding. She maybe she did make a puppet. I don't know.
There was a really cute music video for, I think it's called Mean, where it has one of those whole, it looks like it's one of the little animatronic things where, like, the curtains open up and then, like, she's on the little stage. So I thought that was pretty cute.
All right.
I haven't
give her
seen
that.
this in a long time. Truly have not seen it in a very long time. Oh, it's really not as cute as I thought it was. But I remember being surprised at something that even looked that slightly...
I like how Henry put what you were saying about the trash planet.
We are trash people! Yes! Yes!
Thank you, Henry.
I have an
Yes.
example of another puppet that is entertaining to talk about. That since, my phone's not dead yet. So it's another Slumber TV puppet, and it's somebody shitting in a river.
Nice.
So my dad used to have these Abercrombie and Fitch catalogs, and I cut out this picture of a lady's butt, and I put a Barbie raincoat on it, and then I put boots, like G.I. Joe boots. So it's like this like bottomless character with a raincoat, and I put a boba straw behind it, and I just made chocolate pudding. And I sprayed chocolate pudding out of it, and it worked really well. Like, it looks like and because of the picture, the lady didn't have shins in the picture, so it looks like this kind of weird freak, like Hank Hill's dad, but like a lady, and it just poops into a river. I mean, it's as simple as that. That's a puppet.
That's absolutely
with
a puppet.
It's one very specific puppeteering trick. Also, the other one that I was telling you guys about earlier, but not live, was I wanted a guy to look like he was sleeping. So what I did was I got a plastic bag and I tightly attached a straw, like a rubber hose. And I put a T-shirt on it, and I made paper arms, legs, and a head, and I blew in and out, and it looked like he was inhaling and exhaling.
I love those very specific puppet applications to do stuff that people don't even necessarily notice is a puppet.
Yeah.
Because I think the expectation is the Muppet.
Yeah. Like,
look.
Really this style that I have kind of crafted, because I did pull the instructions essentially off of Pinterest, which is where look, I used to get information from Pinterest, and then one day I looked up psychology facts on Pinterest, and I am a psych major, and I just got to tell you, never go to Pinterest for information.
It's pretty wild. I mean, every time I end up on there is for reference imagery. Hello, can you hear me?
About the world that we live in.
But yeah, great for references.
I looked up splitting images puppets last time I was on Pinterest because I drew a guy who waves at things image that the phrase is a smile is just a mouthful of waves. And I wanted it to have a crazy distorted mouth, and I referenced this picture of Mick Jagger's splitting image puppet.
I'm just pulling up a picture of the guy who waves at things because.
Oh yeah, show him. He's my baby.
The world needs to know
him a lot lately. You'll see. He's going to be in the puppet world soon. There he is.
I love this project, and I love all the IRL versions of him that I've seen you do.
Oh,
like
yeah.
a giant cardboard, like this one right here. Actually, I can pull.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I went to David Lynch's house, and I took pictures of him outside of David Lynch's house.
Oh, my God. He lives in LA, right?
Yeah. He lives not too far from me. Also, Glenn Danzig's old house.
Oh, yeah.
I took him out to Danzig's house, Neil Young, Frank Zappa. And I forget who else, but I'm trying to think of other cool celebrities to troll. Not troll, that's the wrong word. To stalk. To briefly go in front of their house and put my weird cutout in their yard and take pictures and run away. But to be fair, Frank Zappa's been dead since the early 90s, and I think Lady Gaga or Alex Winter owns his house now. So.
Oh.
Lady Gaga's sick as fuck.
She's crazy.
And also sick.
Yeah.
Well, that's rather mean. She has fibromyalgia, as do I, and I appreciate her very much because that's why my mother knows what fibromyalgia is.
That's cool. Hey, well, I gotta say, she works very hard. I mean, she's quite a hustler. You gotta respect the hustle. Yeah. She works her ass off. I mean, I saw her at the Super Bowl, and I was like, holy fuck, I would never do that.
Right? No, she's incredibly impressive with that work ethic. Yeah. But also, it's 5:58, which means it's 2 minutes until 6.
It is 2 minutes until 6 when you need to get yourself to the pre-show on Planet Scum Discord in the K-Scum Lounge. All you 5 beautiful people who have been hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Henry, you are just the nicest. Holy crap.
Henry.
Sarasota, you are also freaking amazing. Sarasota actually sent us an incredible puppet piece.
Let me pull that
this
up.
really great animation, which reminds me almost a little more of William Kettridge. And this is from a person called, what was it, Dan's Basement?
Dave's Basement.
Dave's Basement, who came into Planet Scum, went into the plugs thread and shared this fucking incredible stuff. So hang out in the plugs thread. You're gonna see some really cool shit. I don't even know if this person, I don't remember speaking to this person at all. So I don't know if they hang out or if they were just like, I know you would love this. And we were like, yes, this is what we love.
From what I can see, it looks really cool.
Right?
It's really cool. I also just love the music.
I love the gait of the puppet too.
So that's what I love, the stick arms.
Yeah, the stick arms are really cool. And then the stick head on this one, on the one that's like leaning over, the head's on a stick too.
It's a lot more like the Punch and Judy puppets.
Yeah.
Which is a...
Classic.
Classic. Not even sock puppet style.
I was introduced to that through Jan Spankmeyer. That's how I was introduced to Punch and Judy.
Oh, who's Jan Spankmeyer?
He's a Czech Republic. I think he's mostly stop motion animation, but there's definitely some puppets in there. I mean, his Punch and Judy has puppets. He's the one who did the Alice in Wonderland remake in the late 80s called Alice.
Oh. My middle school did a production of that, and it was the creepiest, coolest fucking thing. Like, my 3rd grade brain could not deal with there being 3 Alices, and, like, one of them just, like, would stare into the middle distance and sing, and they would talk about the nature of reality. I still don't know why they did that for a middle school, but it was cool as fuck.
That is cool. That's actually really cool. That's way cooler than what they did at my school. It was a bunch of people lip syncing Britney Spears songs at the talent show.
Yeah. It looks like this has done some shadow puppet or some silhouette puppets. They did some claymation, it looked like, and puppetry with the same characters. Yeah.
Wow, they look great.
Right?
They definitely have a truly unique style.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the link to all these will be in the show notes for this episode if you want to go and check them out yourself with audio even.
That's the end.
I didn't check that.
This is the end.
This
my
is the
lovely
end.
friend. The end.
And so this is our puppet that's been generated over the course of this hour.
The end.
3 eyes.
And its face can either be this
A
way
reversible puppet.
or this way. Fuck yeah. And I was thinking, like, it should have a Gethard related name or a Planet Scum related name, because this is our dear little, you know, our Planet Scum, our trash people puppet.
Yes.
And so I was like, oh, it's Gethy Jr. And I was thinking, what if I made it look like Gethy? And then I forgot to look up pictures of Gethy.
I mean, it
doesn't not look like Gethy.
It doesn't not look like Gethy. Like, let me go. Before we end, I'll pull up a picture of Gethy so we can compare. I mean, I'll try to pull up a picture of Gethy. I mean, here we go. Gethy dies. There we go.
Gonna be real, this is not fun for my hand.
Oh, okay.
This motion for, like, a person with hand troubles, so that's something I will think about the next time I make a puppet.
So this is Gethy right on there. There's a family resemblance.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Yeah. Adopted cousin.
Adopted. There we go. It's adopted Gethy Jr. that we made right here.
Yes. Because Gethys are found. They're not born. They're made.
Yes.
By fans who love them.
Yes.
Fans like you, like us. Fans who are going to the Discord right now for the radio show.
Yes.
It's a radio show with
this week it's a radio
DJ Perps and Miel. Head on over.
It's with DJ Perps and... Oh, sorry. It's DJ Purple Party Pants and MC Miele Maniac.
Ow, ow!
It's Planet Scum on air.
So get there. We will see you in the Discord.
See you there.
Good night and good clawn. And join us for the post show.
Right on after Judge Millie. And follow Uncle Dad Productions on Instagram.
Follow Uncle Dad
to see
Productions.
more of his great stuff.